This once cherished home belonged to a Belgian family, Johannes and his wife. Only 3 years have passed since anyone last called this place home, yet the story it holds is far sadder than you could ever imagine. Andre and his wife raised 2 sons here, Marc and Robin. Together, they ran a family business, crafting fish tanks and aquariums in the outdoor sheds. But beneath the surface, trouble brewed. The youngest son, Robin, betrayed his family's trust, scamming strangers for hundreds of thousands of euros. This deceit didn't just break hearts, it shattered lives. The financial strain and grief became unbearable for Andre and his wife, and in the end, it was too much. They both passed away, leaving behind a legacy of sadness. The state claimed the house, and now it sits quietly, frozen in time. Inside, we find traces of their lives, untouched and undisturbed. A room still devoted to their granddaughter, Ellen, remains as it was. You wonder, does she think of this place, of the home of her grandparents once filled with love? Life, it seems, can be deeply unfair. What was once a warm, lived-in home has become a monument to broken trust, where the actions of one son rippled through an entire family. Today, we'll step inside this tragic home, a space perfectly preserved, as though waiting for someone to return. So welcome back everybody. Today we are in Belgium, in the Flemish part of Belgium, and we have an incredible time capsule house to show you.
This is really an amazing time capsule house. I'm very curious to explore the inside of it, and yeah, I don't know, just already the look of it. We don't know much yet. There are not a lot of information points.
Mailbox right over here.
But just only by walking up here, what we just did, yeah, definitely looks crazy abandoned. And I even see a car over there.
And the window upstairs is also just open. You can tell there is a lot of vegetation over here. Wow. I'm really curious for the inside.
Yeah.
We got it from a friend and she told me it's promising. So we are very eager to see it. But there is firstly a 𝗬𝘁cie 𝗿𝗆𝗆 left behind. That's also why they call this location the 𝗁𝗁cie house.
Okay.
Now I know. I didn't know 𝗁𝗁cie was a brand of 𝗬𝘁cie.
Me neither. I thought of some type of saxophone or something, but
unfortunately no saxophone left behind. I think the car is locked. Yes.
yeah, it's they tried to open it up, but they didn't succeed.
You can tell the steering wheel is completely moldy and musty.
Maybe
there's even still a 𝗦𝘁cie in there, so maybe this place has been abandoned around like COVID-19 times.
Could be. Oh wow, it's actually quite unique.
Bro, look on the grounds. An aperture for a camera.
Yeah, I saw it.
Pentagon. It's not a cheap aperture.
But this is also quite unique.
What? Yo, that's crazy.
There is a lot of light and bar stuff. Maybe the man had a bar. Who knows?
Yeah, there are also all these lights, right?
Yeah.
This is like a shed for all the storage.
Well, all right.
Then I also saw a door over there, and I think we'll just walk through there.
Yeah, then I think we will get to the back of the property, but there was one door over here.
It's literally inviting us like, hey, hello, open me.
Yeah.
Wind is helping a little bit today. Yeah, doesn't look very spectacular.
Nah, cages, so maybe for animals. Seems like it, but yeah, more or less.
Well, then let's walk through the vegetation, bro.
Yep.
Because I think that's a way to actually get inside this magical time capsule. And it's always a challenge conquering all this vegetation.
So, walking down the garden over here. And
so overgrown.
yeah, it's really overgrown. And on the right side, we actually have the small garage. Well, garage, it was once a garage, but now you can tell that it was more of a working garage.
I think it was used as a workspace, but you can also clearly tell that they used the space for storage.
Oh yeah, definitely. But
I think that definitely Johannes had like also grandchildren coming over here.
yeah.
Or maybe it's even from the times that the children were growing up in the home as well.
Who knows? I mean, well, Johannes definitely was a handyman, I would say, because there are plenty of tools actually.
Still ice skates over here.
Yeah. But like really, like everything is left so far, and then just only the imagination how the inside of the property will look.
More children's movies again, but these are rather modern, so I think they were definitely from the grandkids.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is from our childhood, man. Like these are the things that we used to watch. Of course, everybody knows this, but
yeah, Pokemon. That's also where we grew old with. It's always funny to see how like the outbuildings and, for example, this shed in particular, left in a state of disarray, but then the home has like such untouched spaces and rooms.
Yeah. Really incredible.
So, you know the drill. Just keep watching if you don't want to miss out on what's about to follow. And trust us when we say you certainly don't want to miss out on it. This place is a gem.
Oh yeah, for Belgian principles, 100% for sure, man. Well, I do actually think that he used to have a dog, because there, you see, there is also this hole, and that was also in the garage, like a space in the garage.
Yeah, so this was like for the dog maybe.
Yeah.
Like his garden cage.
Exactly.
So in a bit we're also checking out that outbuilding over there.
Yeah.
But firstly, let's walk to the little garden house.
It's very cute actually. Oh, wow. There's actually a lot of stuff over here on the floor.
Well, if you look at this little garden house, it's so decrepit.
Yeah.
It's almost just falling like a tower of Jenga.
It's sad, right? Really sad.
Wow.
Yeah.
All the records.
That's really fascinating actually.
It's sad that they're outside. Almost all the covers are just completely
Oh yeah, like
gone.
These things are not worth anything now anymore. Like,
I'd be surprised if they still work.
nah, I don't think so, man.
I think this is another case that was used for the records. It is.
Yep. And it's also covered, like filled, right?
Yep. Fully. It's said that these records are just left withering away outside there, getting damaged by the elements.
I almost feel like the man used to play some music over here. There was also this stereo system over there, you see that?
Oh yeah.
And also this one, like maybe the man even did something with audio in his spare time, or he had a company with it.
I also saw a book over here. It's actually a listening book for fairy tales. You can tell that the shells over here are also just completely falling. But now we're also getting a beautiful perspective of the actual home.
Mm-hmm.
This is the structure that we're about to explore. A tiny house in a very small and share-sized municipality. We're in the Flemish parts of Belgium today, meaning that the Past family also talked Dutch. Maybe had French as a second language, but the prime language was just Dutch Belgian.
They mainly speak Dutch, but they definitely know some French words.
It's crazy to see how the branches are just growing here through the tiles, right?
Yeah, really is, right? And over here actually, Mo, is the other part of the garage shed, I would say.
Still a little bicycle. Is it actually a bicycle for adults?
No.
It's for children, right?
It's definitely for children, because if we look right over there she is. This was the granddaughter.
Yeah, it was the granddaughter, because the letters actually say opa, which means granddad. And also some tiny phones over here, like Nokia, Samsung, very vintage, one of the early models. And some dolls and a dollhouse for the girl over here.
Yep. So yep, we were right, man. There was a little girl living in here, visiting her granddad.
The process of deduction, we're just finding clues inside. There's even still these Lego looking bricks.
Mm-hmm.
All things she used to play with. Over there some more toys, a pink toy vacuum cleaner, and way more. A doll there.
Honestly, she was quite spoiled. I think Grandpa definitely spoiled her very well.
I think the love for his granddaughter was endless.
We've only known names so far. I mean, this jacket, they all have it. It's a typical, I would say, farmer clothes, but...
Yeah, definitely working uniform for outside the garden. And maybe he also generated some wealth by farming. Well, still some slippers standing on the ground here. Finally, before we're gonna enter the porch, we told you about this other outbuilding over here.
Yeah, and I don't know what it actually was or was like. I'm curious, man.
This really looks like the workshop.
Yeah, really does, right? Well, over here you can tell. Yeah, lawnmower. I don't know if it's even opened, oh yeah, definitely opened. Wow.
This is completely collapsed.
Completely.
So what's in here? At least what's still left in there?
Yeah, because I can't walk that way, so... Oh yeah, this really was the workshop. Oh, this is very cool.
He was just making decoration and bouquets, probably.
Yeah, decoration.
Like something decorated, but maybe that was actually the hobby of the wife, or even a profession, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe even a profession.
Oh look, this was also for lizards or something, so maybe they also had reptiles, given that they were animal lovers. This was definitely like a creative space, like a creative workspace.
Yeah.
And whether it was from the man Andre or his wife, I think we can't really tell so far.
But you see, they created this, for animals,
glass cages.
You know?
Yeah.
And the interior, it's all the stuff from the interior.
It's really interesting. I've never seen people that make them themselves. Also over there is some sort of cage.
And there was a lot of glass work as well. Quite hard actually. I don't know. I think they had a lot of professions. They made money on multiple ways.
Yeah, and they were creative too, so that's nice. I think this was really for reptiles, spiders, small reptiles. Then let's head towards the actual porch. And let's explore the house. This sign over here, it says, "I'm guarding for my boss." Yeah, Johannes and his family, they had a dog.
Yeah.
That also becomes evident when we're gonna enter the porch right now.
Yep. Well, besides this wooden airplane on the floor over here.
Wooden model plane.
Yep.
Skylark.
We had the bathroom, like, outside of the house.
Yeah, well, it is not directly connected to the living parts. So that's interesting to see. It's actually connected with the porch. You can tell grooming products are still there. I also kind of like the toilet holder for the toilet paper. It's all still in there.
Yep. Everything is left. Cobwebs, a lot of them.
Shower right here. This is the only bathroom inside the home.
And then this was for the dog.
Fairly big cage for the dog.
Yep. Maybe they had one, maybe they had more. Who knows?
And you were talking about the records. There are even more records over here.
Mm-hmm.
These are definitely the LPs. The other one were the tiny ones. All the buckets for the water for the dog. And in here, all their shoes. Hiking shoes, fancy shoes, sneakers. And there are also shoes for the woman, so...
Had a woman living in here as well.
Yeah, well, given that they had most likely a grandchild, they also either had a daughter or a son.
Oh yeah, definitely. Little doggy statue. Well, over here, frying pan, of course. His old Nike Air Max trainer, actually. The classics.
I like to see that there are also still all these tiny items in front of the windowsill.
Yeah.
Forever friends. Probably these items, at least some of them, are sentimental value. This is of Disneyland Resort Paris. Probably also destination that they visited. This over here, Raymond, if you can get it out, is actually brain scans.
Oh yeah. It's always so strange that you can find it on the...
If you can hold it in front of the window, gonna see what we can see, because I find this entirely captivating. So what's possible, for example, is that he had a hemorrhage, so for example brain bleeding.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe an infarction. That's the only moments when they usually make this. Or maybe Mr. Johannes suffered from dementia. Trying to see from what date these are. 2001.
Okay.
So 2001, this man was suffering from potential brain pathology.
Potential health habits. That's already some time ago, actually. All right.
That is quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Given the condition of this home.
I was really expecting this place to be like abandoned for, I don't know, just finding all the stuff. I don't think
we don't know if he recovered from treatment, obviously.
Exactly.
So we don't know if that's the last day, but there are also some magazines on here.
Maybe it was his wife. Wait a second. Okay, no. But this wasn't another person. Where it belonged to. Name was Andre.
Andre, okay.
Yep.
So what did the magazine say? Like what year?
Let's see. It's indeed a good indication. Yeah, I was really thinking something like that. What do you think?
2020?
2019, this one says.
Okay.
So yeah. Oh, over here, yeah. Damn. 2021.
Wow.
That's absolutely not long ago. Like,
you get aware how quickly
a place,
desolation.
Yeah, desolation happens. Like this place is definitely.
Even though the rooms are not super decayed, I mean, you can clearly tell there is decline.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you can easily.
Property is not taken care of. It just ends up like this, nonetheless.
Yeah, for real. Like, all right, 2021 is the date I found so far, and it's actually quite fascinating. All right, maybe. Oh.
Wow, that's precious. Probably drawings made by the granddaughter for her grandparents.
Yep.
That's so sweet. Kind of sad at the same time. His granddaughter is still alive.
And the craziest part is that the granddaughter maybe is like the same age
as we are.
I mean, there is a very big chance. Like, maybe
she will see this video, maybe.
Yeah, maybe because yeah, I think she's like in the same age range. Huh? Yeah, 2021. I was not expecting that. You know, I was expecting early, but early, quite recent.
Well, you can tell that they also used to do the laundry in this part. There was also this little grooming kit where also a pencil used to go in. And that used to be the door connected to this porch. So even though the bathroom was not directly in the living parts, they could just open the door and go to the bathroom, of course.
Very easily.
So still a certain type of convenience.
Well, as you can always remember is, yeah, the places have an entrance, and this one sadly was created. But yeah, it's a plus point for us. This location is quite pristine. Well, quite pristine. This location is very pristine. So we will do everything to secure this property. It's really beautiful inside, and I just don't want things to really get stolen out of here or broken. Let's explore it for you, and let's just show it, and let's embrace history.
Okay, it's my turn to do a little climb. Actually not extremely difficult. So yeah, I think I don't have actually much to add to Raymond. I think he said it quite well. This is a magical time capsule. And yeah, we're gonna embrace the history of Johannes, his family, and the story, and find out more what happened, how these people lived, and yeah, share the story with you today.
So, in the kitchen right now, and actually, first thing first, we saw the name Andre, and we heard Johannes. Actually, it's the same man. So, Andre was the last owner of this property. Sadly, I do think he passed away, and yeah, it's really a sad fact that everything is just left over here, and nobody's really taking care of it.
Parts of a dollhouse or something like that over here. Like Raymond said, we are in the kitchen right now. Keys, cutlery, kind of like these 𝗬𝗍𝗍 laces. Checker pattern, very traditional looking.
Oh yeah, and also these over here. Yeah. Kittens.
They have fallen down. That probably happened when somebody forcefully opened this window.
Yep.
Well, like Raymond said, we're just taking advantage of it, but we're at the same time taking proper care of the preservation of this site.
Really.
So by the time you're watching this place is probably under protection. Families contacted, and the place is closed.
Yeah.
Not gonna zoom too much in on the table here, given that there are so many documents.
Yep. Well, I did find another name, and it could be a woman's name, I would say. Let me see. No, it's a man. So I do think that was the name of his son. But I want to find the name of the woman.
What's the name of the son?
Robin.
Robin, okay.
Yeah. That's the name. So yeah, not going into too many details, you know what, because I really do think that these people are still alive, and if you might see this, we have all the respect.
It's crazy to see food products are also still in here. Microwave. I see medicines over there. And if you can open this one a little bit up, we also still have a beautiful collection of Belgian beer glasses.
Oh yeah, really nice.
Ornaments on top. There is an Altus television. There is a medallion for 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝘆𝗶. I believe this is really nothing anybody will know overseas or in other countries, so I'm just leaving the translation in the video right now. But yeah, they earned medallions with it, so maybe that was from Robin, the son. Still entire storage over here.
What is the dates on the food products?
Yeah, I was curious about that too. That's what I'm gonna check right now. For example, there is this jar filled with asparagus, and it's actually expired in December 2022.
Damn.
I think these usually have a quite long expiry date. Maybe 1 year, maybe 6 months. But yeah, this place isn't abandoned for that long, as a matter of fact. So I hope it will find new life in the future.
Well, I just hope that this was done by owners, but I'm not really 100% sure about it, man.
What?
Yeah, just like the kitchen, for example, looks quite trashed on the first glimpse. Like, you know, we do untouched locations, but this is definitely not untouched. All the drawers are open, and you can remember where we once found that everything was opened.
I think definitely the first people usually to enter are not explorers if a place is closed, but the burglars, and they scavenge the place first, sadly enough.
Well, can't say a lot about that, but not gonna waste too much time on it.
Let's not give them any credits or attention whatsoever.
No. You can tell that the man actually had quite some health conditions, like, well, bad health conditions. This is, my granddad had the same.
Well, he was just coping with his mobility.
Yeah,
to say the least.
To say the least, yeah, exactly. And then over here,
a lot of clothes.
Yep.
Do you think this was from him? I think rather from the son, right?
I think rather from the son, yeah.
Well, where does this lead us to?
Well, this is a storage area. Used to store a lot of stuff over here.
Wow, look at the chandelier.
Yeah, that's really unique, right?
Beautiful. It's not really matching with the other aesthetics of this room.
Yeah.
Some more jars. 2021. Even one 2023, but that's carrots in a jar, so I think that has a very long expiry date.
Oh yeah, that has a long expiry date.
Because that literally expired like 1 month ago. I think this is also the granddaughter.
Yeah.
When she was a little bit older.
Well, I don't know why I used to keep that.
Over here we can see some decay.
And yeah, some home trainers over there, irons over there. I do think this was just a storage part.
Yeah, some ironing boards. This is just a storage part. Well, somebody was definitely doing some crunches and working out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, as you can tell, there is a coffee grinder over there, but more or less, there's not a lot of very interesting
items left behind.
Items left. Besides the clothes. That's very, very cool that they're just still hanging over there.
And you can tell that these were most likely the clothes of Johannes.
Well, and then over here we have more pictures.
Oh, the granddaughter again. Maybe that was even during Halloween or Carnival.
Yeah.
So sweet. This is another child.
Yeah, I haven't seen him yet. It's a him.
So maybe a granddaughter and a grandson.
Well, yeah.
I think the grandson was younger, so maybe he didn't play a lot of toys yet at that age because he was still too young, you know. That's why they spoiled the older granddaughter, at least when Mr. Andre was still alive.
You know what I'm actually quite curious about?
The food in the fridge. That's what I was already, and this is probably gonna be really, really smelly because this is not rotting for very long. I haven't inhaled yet. Is it safe? I don't think so, right? I haven't inhaled yet. Look at the freezer. Check out the freezer, bro. Oh no. Oh my gosh, and we still have to show these pictures as well on top. Oh my, I'm dying over here. I can't inhale. The smell is awful, so they had a grandson and a granddaughter. We know that by now.
Yeah. All right.
And there is a wheelchair over here, which also aligns with the story that he coped with mobility problems.
All right, let's get out of here.
One more thing to show is the screen of HP, red and modern. But now I'm gonna follow Raymond.
All right.
Keys, by the way.
So normally we do like this beautiful entrance, like wow, we're going to the amazing room. But all right, let's just still do it. We are going to the, in my opinion, the most beautiful, pristine room right now. And this is really, just going back in time. All right, I can finally breathe again. Damn.
Wow. Fascinating. What a time treasure.
Yeah, really, really is. Like the contrast compared to the other room is really beautiful.
You might get why we said at the start of this video, just keep watching. You'll be treated with a wonderful home full of antiques. Also a room with rather sad backstory.
Yeah.
But I find it also beautiful if somebody is hospitalized at his home instead of at a care home or a hospital. At least the person spends his last days inside his confidential environment, the place where he feels home, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And it also somehow makes me happy. I just hope the person didn't, suffer too much and just got the right treatment by a nurse, a private nurse at his home.
I do honestly think that the man passed away over here.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
It's beautiful to see the ornaments and porcelainware still in there. It's so pristine. Look at this antler chandelier.
Cool, right?
Very unique. Statues and busts. There are more children's movies over there for the granddaughter, and also movies for themselves. Gone fishing. Embroidered frame over here. You know what makes this place so beautiful? There's a very antique interior. Like people used to live in Belgium.
Really?
In the
really
18
is.
and 1900s.
Like I said, this really is just going back into my grandpa's house, man. But I do think, and I'm hesitating a little bit about it.
The electricity.
No. I do think that the man used to smoke or something catch fire over here. Because what I see right now, look over there. You see that?
Oh yeah, the blank spot on the wall where the frame is missing. I think he used to smoke.
I do think it's from smoke, so yeah. So
from years of smoking.
If you smoke like
decades,
this is what happens to a property.
And look on the grounds.
Tile work.
Yeah, the tile work, the pattern, very traditional. Barometer on the wall here, and some nice ornate paintings.
Well, and then there she is again. A young girl.
this kind of jug. Looks kind of African. Marble details on the fireplace, which is connected with a stove.
He had to more modernize in a way.
More antlers over here, and it actually used to be the holder of this lamp, without even a lamp cover. You can see the other grandson over here with a Santa.
Wi-Fi router in the corner.
Oh yeah. It kind of gives you mixed feelings, right? To know that maybe 2-3 years ago people still lived there, the man still watched television, went to bed in his hospital bed, or maybe later even during the day, just to rest.
Well, should I give it a shot?
I'm curious if the electricity works, but
No, I don't think so. No.
It's Belgium.
Yeah, I know it's Belgium, but the house is in such a state of disrepair in 2 years already. If this place doesn't get preserved, like within a year or two, it will look bad, like very bad.
Another embroidered artwork over here of the crying boy. A painting that's believed to be cursed. I've never seen an embroidered away like this.
Me neither.
So that's quite unique. Jackets over there. But there is a chair placed in front of it, so it's rather hard to open it up more. What a room. And the next space is gonna be as mesmerizing. If we look to the tile work, it changes. Very unique. Wallpaper, very colorful. Laces and curtains. And this used to be the dining room. Wow.
Really unique. Yeah, an absolute time capsule.
This is the definition of a time capsule.
Oh yeah, definitely. The cobwebs.
I was looking what's written over here. It says something with patron. Something very old, maybe even religious.
I don't know. These are actually the stamps they used to like put on cards. Yeah. Of course, the man was definitely religious.
Look at this. A wedding photo. Is this the home? The front door?
No, that's not the front door, man.
So maybe friends of them or family?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe a brother or sister?
I do think so.
Still in black and white, so you can imagine how old the picture is.
Well.
Eerie little doll over here.
Talking about picture, we know how Robin looked.
Oh yeah, that's Robin. His wife was of Asian origin. That's why the granddaughter also has an Asian looking appearance. Robin definitely got married. That's maybe even from his wedding, a gift that they gifted to his parents. Can you open this?
I do think so, but yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
More Belgian beer glasses over here. Well, we have a little card over there on the grounds and also some drawers to open up.
It's another name, but maybe this is the boy.
But what is the card about? Like an invitation to communion, I think, right?
Yep. It's the invitation to the first Holy Communion.
Of the grandson. Did you see his name?
Yeah, Brandon.
Brandon.
I don't know, man. This feels so strange.
I know. It is strange.
But you know what?
I'm also very happy that we are in here and we know we're gonna treat this place right and preserve it.
I know.
We just gotta find his family because Brandon,
bro,
the granddaughter, they're still alive. Their memories.
The girl is even younger than us.
Really?
Yeah, she's even younger than us.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but now I know a name, but she's even younger than us, so that's...
So you also found the name of the girl?
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Really crazy. Alright, well, let's open up this one.
I think that's a photo book over there.
This one?
No, in the drawer.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. Damn.
Wait, there was something with Mark too. Who's Mark?
Oh. Their first child? So, there is a name Mark. That was their first child. Damn, this is really going back in.
I think this is the home.
Yeah, this is it. This is the home.
Whoa, this is in the room. Bro. All these memories. That's the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
No freaking way. This is actually
Santa Claus.
a tradition in the Netherlands and Belgium is called St. Nicholas.
Yep, St. Nicholas.
With black beads.
So here he is. This is his wife.
And that's Mr. Johannes.
Yep. All family memories inside of this home.
Yeah. Unbelievable, bro. I think we really got a good impression with that photo album.
Oh yeah. You know,
Let's leave the others.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting very personal at this point, you know?
Yeah, right. It's
like, it was nice to see the home in its former heyday, but let's be brutally honest, not extremely much has changed.
No.
Apart from just life that's not existent there anymore, debris on the grounds, and just cobwebs and decay that's starting to take shape inside.
And that just actually makes me, I don't know, even kind of mad or something. Like, how can you leave a property like this in such a state? Like, come on, there are valuables, just take your time. And I get it, maybe there was a family discussion, we don't know about personal issues, personal problems, but all the furniture that you're pointing at right now, they are proper unique. If this
silverware
is real silverware, then this box is valuable. You know?
I think it is.
It's like
in this tin?
In this tin, and the coloring that is in here, like, this has some value, man.
Probably the parents.
Yeah.
Look, oriental little statue over here. Beautiful frame. There are so many memories. They should be recuperated for the goods. To the family. Would really nobody care about this?
I don't think so.
Or would they just not be aware people are going here?
I don't think they are aware of that, really. Well, there's even
a little purse
over here, just hanging here. Probably was once from his wife.
Well, got plenty of books right over here. What are they mostly about?
Nature, really nature.
Nature and animals.
Yep.
A little spinning wheel. You know, like, books tell a lot about a person.
Yeah. So he probably had his interest in nature.
Beautiful stove over here that really reminds me of the stove that used to be in my deceased grandma's home. They were also clearly of religious faith. And they also used to play the piano.
Yep.
I think maybe the son. Mark, or what was the other name? Robin, right?
Robin. Yep.
Yeah. Whoa. Bro, if you open this up, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pristine left, like pristine.
All the porcelain and chinaware. Whoa. It's quite overwhelming. These are really precious pieces of porcelain. Don't know for your grandparents, but this is like typical that used to be in my grandmother's.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, you know,
all this porcelainware, and you never allowed to use or touch it because it was probably from her parents again. You know.
I know. Like
it just goes from generation to generation.
Like I have all the porcelain from my granddad right now, like just laying in home, and yeah, we don't do anything with it. It's just laying there, like, and it's precious, you know.
Yeah.
That's what they always say. Like, Raymond, this is so precious. Be careful with it. Don't touch it. And we never use it. Like, we never do.
It's more just like a principle of preserving.
Yeah.
Items from generation to generation that
more
are
or
old.
less, yeah. They are not used. We used the ones from the IKEA for that.
True. That's not of sentimental value anyway.
No, exactly. Yeah, well, then let's head upstairs, man. No, I was starting to get a little bit of speechless because, I don't know, it's really gives me big questions.
So, we're gonna walk upstairs right now. 2 more incredible bedrooms. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the time travel and the captivating insights in the story, and also all the precious items inside the former home of Mr. André, Johannes, and his family. Grandson over here again. Over here, clearly the white spots. So you can tell that Mr. André was most likely a heavy smoker.
Not like a heavy one, because it's really yellow.
It's almost brown, not even yellow anymore. Well, this used to be an area for storage. A lot of junk and also a lot of toys again. So let's head into this bedroom. And this used to be the bedroom of the daughter, the granddaughter, when she came over to the home of her grandparents.
Yeah, it's really just, I don't know, like you're at your own spot, man.
Weird little stereo radio cassette player. Not used anymore nowadays. A helmet.
Actually, Mo, I'm very curious.
Whoa, okay, this is insane, bro.
Yeah.
Geronimo Stilton, and it literally says travel through time. That's what we are doing while we find this item.
And these books, like, I was addicted to them.
Me too. They even have pages that smell. So I think people in other countries know these books as well.
Yeah.
And the little Dora case over here. So you can tell this was from the granddaughter.
And this was his wife?
Where do you think she was from? I think either from Thailand, Philippines, or Indonesia.
Yeah.
One of these countries.
Definitely one of these countries, yeah.
This was the son.
Yep.
When they met. So this was Mark, maybe. Or Robin, I don't know.
I really don't know. What is in there?
I think it's empty.
Yeah. Have you also seen the door at Explorer back?
Yeah, that's what I just mentioned.
Pretty cool.
A little receptacle for holy water.
And what I was about to ask, well, like, did you have your own room, like at your grandma's house? Because I didn't. I just said, like, it was not that I had my own private room, you know?
I mean, not that it was personalized, like she had a spare bedroom, of course.
Exactly. And like this girl, and like she even look.
Like I said at the start, they had such big, priceless love for their granddaughter. That's just beautiful. I think she had definitely not a youth to complain about.
Yep, and this is the mother again.
The son together with his wife. It's beautiful that we're able to put all these puzzle pieces together in such a way.
Yeah, really.
Gives context to that this was not just a building, this was a home, and a lifetime was spent here. And memories were created here.
Memories were definitely created here, man. Then the last room inside of here.
And this was definitely the room of Mr. Andre and his wife. I think they lived in this home for a long time.
Oh yeah, I think a lifetime was spent over here.
I think they never moved. Maybe they were even born in this home. Got it from their parents. Never decided to move. Makeup from the woman. Oh, this is still the laundry, man. This is how they collected the laundry. It's still in there, like last program was never finished. I thought, what is this on the ground? But there's giant rock over here.
Yeah, it's from a sheep.
A lot of women's clothes as well.
So yeah, you can tell that they used to live.
Women's clothes, men's clothes. It's mixed, so it's hard to tell who passed first.
I do think the woman, because we haven't found a name of the woman yet. Like,
all the documents inside are for Mr. Andre Johannes.
Exactly.
We don't even know the name of the woman. Well, before continuing, look over here on the nightstand. More signs of religion.
It's like a poetry towards Jesus Christ, and Maria.
Also on the marble fireplace mantle over here.
Over here, doll.
And you can tell like wallpaper is already peeled down over here.
And I must say it's cheaply done. Like,
listen, like I'm not saying that this happened in 2 years. Maybe the man could also not maintain the home anymore. When he grew older and had health complications, obviously.
I do think these
but it makes you aware like this home is not in mint condition, although it might seem like it on the naked eye and at first sight. It's definitely not. Of course, in real life, like when we are exploring right now, we're able to witness more than you capture on video. We smell, we sense.
Yeah.
And a real eye always captured more than our third 𝗦𝗫𝗶𝗆.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I should actually say fifth 𝗦𝗫𝗶𝗆. Then, time for the final floor. The attic, we've not even been here yet. So I'm not sure if it's even worth going here, but that's what exploring is about. Oh, used to be a model train track over here.
Oh, that's really cool.
I think definitely a hobby. Mr. Andre.
And over here, actually,
look, model space shuttle.
And you know what is really cool about this one?
What?
The toys over here were from the son. His own son.
Aha. And he probably moved outside the home, so that's why they put them over here for storage in the attic. Christmas balls. More dolls. More games. Toys, like you say, from the son. Of course, I just zoomed in on it, the Singer sewing machine. Well, our 𝗦𝘁cie bingo is complete right now, I guess.
Yeah. Like, it couldn't be left. There is no place without a Singer sewing machine.
Well, now comes a question for you, Raymond. Our 𝗦𝘁cie bingo. Yes, semi. There is one thing missing, semi. We have seen it inside this home, but...
What? I'm thinking, I've seen cobwebs, I've seen decay, I've seen a Singer sewing machine.
Think about our Spanish friend, what excites him the most.
Oh, yeah, but not for a house. Oh.
A piano.
Yeah, well, there is a piano.
That's why I say semi.
Yeah.
We had no upright piano, we just had electric keyboard. So, we're heading back down. This place really exceeded our expectations.
Yeah, I must say, I've not done a lot of places. Well, I don't think there are a lot of places which we actually ever done in this state. And just the fact that it's abandoned for such a short time, and yeah, I don't know, the decay inside and just the condition of the home, that really reminds you of if you ever have a family member passing away, take care of the property, because you see, people are unfair humans, and yeah, not everybody is a nice human being. They just go inside and take valuables. Probably the bags were too small and they couldn't take the silver cutlery, for example. So maybe one day a lot of people will come back and even more and more get stolen.
Yeah, this is definitely a rare place, but also a place that's definitely at risk. We actually received it from a friend, and together with her boyfriend they explore a lot of amazing places, also a lot in Belgium. So I just want to give them a quick shout out. Her name is 𝗦𝘁cie𝗿𝗆, and yeah, their links to their pages will also be linked in the video description. I think it's worth checking them out. I think it's also worth crediting them, because without them we wouldn't have known about the existence of this place.
Oh no, definitely.
Obviously I'm gonna talk with them as well, how we're gonna save and preserve this place, and maybe can trace back one of the family members still alive to make sure this place gets the protection it deserves.
Oh yeah.
And in the end, Raymond and I really want to thank you for watching to this video. As you know, we have channel memberships, 3 different tiers, bonus content, exclusive content, early access to videos. The link will be in the description, and it will greatly support our channel. Of course, we also have a Patreon page, PayPal links. Feel free to check it out. And in the end, if you enjoyed this particular episode, all we want to ask you is smashing a thumbs up, commenting down below. And if you want to see more episodes every week, of course, also hit that subscribe button and turn on the post notification button as well.
Well, Moreno, that was beautifully said. And with hell said again, we will see you on our next adventure.
Peace out.